Yo guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing sort of a longer awaited video because I didn't end up doing a wrap up back in December, like a yearly, not a yearly wrap up, but like an end of year wrap up is what I mean. So I figured I would combine December with January here. It's the end of January already, which is insane, and do a December/January reading wrap up, everything I read through the holidays in the month of December through now. I know December, I didn't end up reading a lot towards the beginning of the month and the end of December just because I was on that Christmas break. I was spending time with my family and my girlfriend, so I didn't have a lot of time to read. But I picked it up again, soon after when I went back to school and all that after Christmas, and we're just gonna keep on trucking. So yeah, that being said, I don't know how long the video is gonna be. I have to look at my list of the things I actually read during that time, because I don't remember exactly how many items are on it, but it's all good. If you guys do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it. And also, be sure to join the Discord in the description below. Love to have you talk about some books, games, anime, manga. Does not matter. So yeah, click the link below and check it out. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright guys, so actually my list for my reading wrap up here is kind of fire. I mean, all of these books are complete bangers. So starting off is actually a book that I'm not going to hold because don't actually want to pull it off the shelf right now because it's in like a slip case. There's other books. Anyway, The Way of Kings. I'll throw a picture up on here. Of course, you guys probably know what The Way of Kings looks like. Absolutely loved it, and ended up being my favorite book of the year last year. Did a review on it, and it happened to be my best performing video yet. So that's pretty cool. Absolutely love The Way of Kings. Can't wait to try to continue and complete the Stormlight Archive, at least that first overall arc this year. You guys will see later in the video what is currently being read as it pertains to that, but yeah, I don't know if I am going to be getting to Wind and Truth this year, just because it comes out at the very end of the year, and much like the holidays this past year, I don't know how much time I'm gonna have to read between work and spending time with family and whatnot. But I do plan to get to Wind and Truth, probably like the first thing I read next year. Now, moving on to the other two books that I read during the month of December. I actually didn't realize that I would have enough time to get these in, and I ended up getting them in. So I was really excited about that. And all of these I have done reviews for, except for the one that I'm actively reading this month, and I'll get to that last. So yeah, the other two things are Red Rising and Golden Sun. These are books 1 and 2 of the Red Rising saga. Yeah, like I said, I have reviews out if you guys want to see my more in-depth reviews and thoughts. But the series took me by surprise. I mean, I knew it was pretty hyped up, but I just had this nagging feeling in the back of my head that it was going to be like too YA for me. And if you guys have been on here for a while, you guys know that I almost despise YA. It's just not my thing at all. I think it's cringe. I just don't like YA. So I thought that this was what this was going to be. That was a lot of this. Anyway, I thought that's what this was going to be. Although the first book definitely did have some of those vibes, which were my least favorite parts about the book, it definitely had a way cooler spin on everything than I thought it was going to have. And by book 2, I mean, it's just it's pretty dark. And it ends up, book 2 definitely gave me like some Game of Thrones vibes. So, which you guys know is one of my favorites. So yeah, absolutely loved this. Never really read too much sci-fi before. The only things I've read that were sci-fi before this, honestly, were probably just Ender's Game. Back when I was in middle school, I read Ender's Game, the first book. That's probably the only sci-fi book I've ever read. Most of what I read is fantasy. Although I love sci-fi stuff, I've seen sci-fi movies and all that. Just played sci-fi games, but just never really read a lot. So yeah, absolutely loved the Red Rising trilogy. I do hope to get to the next 4 books soon as well. So stay tuned on the channel for that. I'm definitely going to be hopping into those this year. So just really quickly, those were all the books that I did read back in December of 2023. Way of Kings, Red Rising, and Golden Sun. Moving on to January this month. Not a lot of books. Granted, these are some decently sized books. First things first, Morning Star. When I got back from break, which is like the 9th of January, so still early, but not at like the very beginning. Picked this up, read it within like a week, maybe a week and a half, I'm not sure. Just, I would say blew through it, but it was definitely slower. I said this in my review. I did feel a lot slower than the other 2 books, and it is the longest of the 3. So maybe blew through it isn't the right term, I guess. But I still had a lot of fun with it, and I felt like I did read it relatively fast. I could not put this down. Well, obviously I could, but you know what I mean. It was very addictive reading. By this point in the story, I'm just fully invested in our characters, in this world, and this plot. It's amazing. The ending of this trilogy is fantastic. I do, after watching other people's reviews, especially the homies at Two to Ramble, I watched all their Red Rising reviews, or at least for the first trilogy, once I did finish reading it myself. Love their videos, but I heard a lot of like Austin's problems with Morning Star here, and that definitely did change my perspective a little bit, and I see now that there is definitely some problems with this book. It's not perfect by any means, but it was still wildly entertaining. I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. And yeah, the ending just was fantastic. And now, moving on to the final book of January, and it's the thing that I'm currently reading, and that is going to be, you guys can't tell, Words of Radiance, which is book 2 of the Stormlight Archive. I'm currently this far into it. Think probably about a quarter of the way through. Enjoying it so far. It's definitely had a better start, in my opinion, than book 1. Book 1, is a lot of setup. It is a bit slower. But I guess maybe now I'm more accustomed to Sanderson's writing than I was when I first started Stormlight. But it just feels like the pace has definitely picked up. I'm really interested in everything that's happening. Everything with Shallan at this point is kind of crazy. I mean, I really didn't care for her character too much until the very end of Words of Radiance. Or not Words of Radiance, Way of Kings. Her whole arc in the first part of the book, didn't care for. It was pretty boring. And it wasn't really until like her interactions with Kabzal in Way of Kings that I really started to care and it'd be engaging and interesting. So yeah, and the whole end of Way of Kings was fantastic, but her character definitely picks up quite a bit at the beginning of this book, and everything that she's doing is just very entertaining. I'm loving the character dynamic between Kaladin and Dalinar. That was something I was very excited for. I think them two together are just an awesome pair of characters. Both of them are my favorite characters in the whole story. They have, in the interludes, we're getting the point of view of the Parshendi chick that Dalinar fought. The the Parshendi that had like the shard plate and all that they fought in that big battle at the end of book 1. We get her point of view. Turns out the Parshendi is a chick, because I was under the impression that it was a male. So yeah, that's really interesting. We do get a lot of Parshendi lore. So although it does seem a little bit slower pace, it's noticeably faster, and we're just getting a lot of really cool information, a lot of stuff with like the Knights Radiant, just a bunch of stuff that's really, really intriguing. Now, I'm going to talk about what I plan to read next month in February. A lot of people, I feel like, are stacking their TBRs like a lot. And granted, a lot of people read faster than me. But I've been watching a lot of people's February TBR videos, and I'm like, damn, how are you going to read that much? But for me, that's neither here nor there. My goal is to get to roughly 40% of this book, Words of Radiance. I'm currently reading it alongside my girlfriend. You guys know Kayla. Her and I are reading it together. Problem is I get a lot more time to read than she does. That's undisturbed, and therefore I get a lot further ahead than her. So I think I'm going to hit about 40%, or roughly the halfway mark. I'm going to get to like the part 3. And once I hit part 3, I'm going to take a break and let her catch up. And while I'm letting her catch up, I think my goal next month is actually to read, it's over there on the shelf. Well, I guess I'll grab it real quick. While I'm waiting for her to catch up to me in Words of Radiance, I think my goal, now I'm not exactly sure which book I do want to pick up. I was thinking about maybe a shorter novel, but honestly, I feel like just hopping right in to Iron Gold by Pierce Brown. This is book 4 of the Red Rising saga. Been itching to get more Red Rising in, so I think I am going to read this alongside here, and once I finish big chunks of Words of Radiance, I'll go back to this and sort of back and forth while I'm waiting for Kayla to catch up with me. So yeah, that's everything that I read in January and December, or December and January, and as of now, those are what I plan to read for the month of February as well. I want to thank you all for watching. That's going to be about it for today. Like I said at the beginning, if you guys do go on to enjoy, or if you guys did go on to enjoy, definitely consider subscribing and leaving a like. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, that Discord in the description, join it. It's tons of fun, awesome people. We would love to have you. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.